Hey, this is Taylor from Campbell Coding, and I'm going to show you how to create a Fibonacci sequence generator. A Fibonacci sequence is a sequence of numbers in which every number is the sum of the previous two numbers. This sequence is significant because it represents growth and decay, and it is seen in many different areas such as nature, architecture, and it even is seen in the stock market. And those are just to name a few examples. Now, to get started, here's an example of what a Fibonacci sequence looks like to a certain extent. It can range all the way to infinity, but a Fibonacci sequence always it begins with 0 and 1. And then in order to generate the next number in the sequence, you're going to add the previous two. So 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. And 3 plus 5 is 8. And then that just continues. Now we want to make a program that can do this, and we can determine however long we want it to extend. Now, in order to do this, we're going to need to use variables. And a variable is just an arbitrary symbol or label that we use to represent some information. Now, since we always start with 0 and 1, I'm going to need a variable, and I'm going to call it x to represent 0, and I'm going to have a variable called y represent 1. Now, for this to work, we're going to need a third variable, which is going to represent the created number or new number in the sequence, and I'm just going to call this new variable z. Z is assigned the value of the previous two numbers, which would be x and y. So if x is 0 and y is 1, then z equals 1. And if x is 1 and y is 1, then z is 2, as you can see. And if x is 1 and y is 2, then z is 3, and then it'll continue, and that's what's going to build our pattern. Now, in order to change our x and y's, because we can't have them just stay 0 and 1, because the sequence wouldn't progress, I'm going to set x equal to y and y equal to z to shift those numbers down. So if we go through the first sequence, now x equals 1, which was previously y, and y is equal to 1 also, because z was 1. And then z equals the sum of the two previous numbers. And then we're going to go through the cycle again. And now in the next cycle, x will be 1, y would be 2, and 1 plus 2 equals 3, which would be z. And then we're just going to keep doing that for an indefinite amount of time. Okay, so now we're going to go to our code editor, and we're going to create our x variable, which all you do is you type in x or whatever you want to name your variable, and then you're going to use the equal sign and then 0. And then I'm going to create our y variable, y equals 1, because 0 and 1 are our first numbers in the sequence. Now we want something that will be able to make this sequence repeat so we can get our new numbers, and we're going to use it's called a for loop. We're going to type in for, and then I'm gonna use I, but it can be, this is another variable. Well, here, let me write the whole thing out. For I in range, and let's just say we want to do a 10, we want 10 numbers in the sequence. So what this saying is, for every number in the range from 0 to 9, because the range method does not include the number that you put it in. It goes all the way from 0, it starts at 0, and then it goes all the way to the number previous to what you chose. So that would be 10, that would still be 10 times because we're including 0. So it's saying for every time there's a number from 0 to 9. So that's basically means that's going to do it 10 times. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to make sure we're tabbed in, so we're underneath the loop, and then we're going to set z equal to x plus y. And in order for our numbers to just shift over, I'm going to set x equal to y and y equal to z. And in order for us to actually see something, we're going to need to print something out. So I'm going to print x, because x is going to be our first number, is going to be 0, and then as the sequence continues, we're going to set x equal to y, and then y equals to z. So it's going to show our sequence for the 10 digits. Okay, and now you might already have your terminal. Mine just happened to be closed, and I'm gonna run it.
Yo, 14, you got another one.
Oops. Okay, here it is. Okay, so see, here it is right here. It starts at 0, and then here's our first two numbers. And then 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, and then so on. And it does it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Now we could easily change however many times we wanted to do it, and I'm just gonna do 100 so we can see. But you can pick any number that you want. And as you can see, it gets pretty big. And that's it. That's how you create a Fibonacci sequence generator. Goodbye.